Hello, whoever has just joined. Hello. Hi, Beth. Welcome everyone to the Sherman 5 workshop. We'll just leave it a couple of minutes just to make sure that everyone who wants to be here is in. As you can see, yes, this is the Sherman 5 group playwriting workshop. Thank you, Abigail. As you can see, people are commenting chat function, so please do comment throughout the workshop, say hello to each other, say hello to me. Let's hopefully make this as much of a conversation as we can. Hello Guy. Hello Claire from Sherman 5. You can also add emojis to let me know if you're enjoying yourself or not having fun. You're welcome, Abigail. Hello, Catherine. Nice to see you. Well, not see you, but I'm glad that you're there, part of the workshop. Hello, Guy. Ah, thank you. First thumbs up. Hello, Ian. Nice to see you. Lovely. If we leave it just another minute or so, just to make sure that everybody is here who wants to be here. I'm very impressed with how punctual everyone is so far. For anyone who missed it, this is the Sherman 5 playwriting workshop. Lovely, lovely. Just before we start, unfortunately, we can't caption the video live today, but if anyone does need captions, then this video will remain online for a period of time after today, and that will be captioned. So if anyone needs captions, then you can get a captioned version, but unfortunately can't follow along live. Thank you, Claire, for your email. Let's dive in. So this is the first of 2 workshops that will hopefully help you to create a short play, a play on a page. And it is a workshop designed for beginners, so everybody is welcome. It doesn't matter whether you've never written anything in your life before, and even if you are a seasoned pro, then I'm sure you'll learn 1 or 2 new things, and hopefully it'll just be a really good excuse to spend a little bit of time on your writing. It is a practical workshop, so please make sure that you have a pen and paper ready, or your word processor, or whatever you like to write on. Just make sure that you've got that ready. I am Chelsea Gillard. I'm a professional theatre director, and I also work as a dramaturg, which essentially means for me that I help writers and other directors make sure that their play is clear and that they are communicating with their audience in the way that they want to make. So I've helped lots of writers go from their first draft of a play to getting it on stage. And I've directed kind of all over the country, including in the Sherman studio. And my company, Powderhouse, is currently the company in residence at the Sherman. So hopefully, when everything's back to normal, you'll see us making some work at the Sherman studio. Before we get stuck in, there are just a couple of house rules or kind of guidance. So like I said, please do use the chat to ask questions, to comment, or generally interact with the workshop, and the emoji function as well. But obviously, please do be considerate, keep your comments clean and on topic as much as possible. I'll be keeping an eye on that chat, so hopefully I'll be able to answer questions as they come up. And also Claire from Sherman 5 is also keeping an eye on the chat. This workshop will involve a series of tasks which will have time limits. and these are going to move fairly fast so that we can cover lots of things today. You'll get more from the workshop if you do these exercises along with me in real time. However, if you do feel like it's going too fast, let me know in the comments, or alternatively, you can pause the live stream. Obviously, that will mean that you're not interacting with it in real time, but that is an option to you. And of course, like I said, the video will be available after today so people can revisit things at their own pace should they want to. And yeah, for anyone who might be watching this in the future on the recording, hello to you as well. You're very welcome. Lastly, just a kind of a plea to have fun. This isn't about being deadly serious. I want you to allow yourself to be a little bit silly, to not judge anything that you're going to write today. It's mainly about getting some things down on the page to start us off on a creative journey. There's no right or wrong, it's your play. So, you know, don't worry about what anyone else thinks of it or might think of it. If you find it interesting, probably other people will. And there are no stupid questions, so please, if there are any questions at all, just pop them in the chat and I will do my best to answer them all. We will have a short break about halfway through, just to stretch our legs, and people can ask me questions in that time as well. And I will leave a little bit of time at the end as well for questions, in case anybody has any questions once we're reaching the end. Hello to the people that have joined us. Nicola, that's absolutely fine that you can't take part at the moment. Please kind of watch it again later when children are in bed. That would be absolutely brilliant. So let's kick off. I'm going to kind of dive straight in with a writing exercise. We're just trying to get our brains working, get our brains in gear. And the other thing to mention is you don't have to tell anybody what you've written today at all. So you can write whatever you like on your page and there is no one to see it. So it doesn't matter if it's absolutely awful, particularly for these first few, because they are just to warm our brains up. We're going to start with 2 minutes of free writing. And what that means is I just want you to write whatever comes into your head, whatever is on your mind at the moment. Try not to stop your thoughts as they come. Just give your mind freedom to wander and you may surprise yourself. Hi, Joanna. This is just about getting some words on the page. There's nothing scarier than a white blank page when you start writing. Some of it may be of use later on to you. It may not be, and that's all fine. If you find that nothing is coming to mind, just keep writing. I don't know what to write until your pen flows with some other words. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes. I'm going to be doing these along with you as well. So I'm going to set the timer for 2 minutes. Free writing, off we go. So we've got about 10 seconds left, so bring your sentence to an end. There we go, and that is time up. So if you pop your pens down, hello to anyone who has just joined us. Sorry, I should have covered how long the workshop is. It's an hour long today with us, so until 3 o'clock today. For anyone who's just joined, make sure you grab a pen and paper. We're just doing some warm-up exercises to make sure that there's something on the page. And you've just done the hardest part. You've put your first thing down on your page. So while our creative juices are going, we're going to move on to the next exercise. I'm going to just say a word or a phrase, and I want you to list at least 3 things that come to mind for each of these prompts. Again, these are just to kind of get our brains going and start making some connections and see what's on our mind this morning, this afternoon even. Time is all blending into one at the moment for me. So the first thing I want you to list at least 3 things for is home. What does home make you think of? Next up, I would like you to list down things you wish you'd said. Things you wish you'd said. Favourite smells. What are your favourite smells? Places you would be if you weren't here. Places you would be if you weren't here. Things I'd like to fix. So that's things I'd like to fix. And the last one, unwritten rules of your family. That's unwritten rules of your family. Lovely, thank you. So you should have a couple of things written down for each of those prompts. Now for our last warm-up exercise, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do this. I want you to write your autobiography in exactly 10 words. No more, no less. Your autobiography in exactly 10 words. If you want to, you can share some of these in the comments, but don't feel like you have to. So your 2 minutes to write your 10-word autobiography starts now. If you've already written one, then feel free to write another one. Okay, you've got about 10 seconds left. So bring your current thought to an end. There we go, and we'll stop there. So if anyone did want to share their 10-word autobiography in the comments, please do so. Here is one of mine. Chelsea's on TV, not me. The other Chelsea, Chelsea FC. That is the story of my childhood, being disappointed that it was always the football team and not me on the telly. Hopefully by doing that you can see that in only 10 words we get a tiny, tiny perspective of someone's life. And that's kind of like how it is in a play. There are all these limits on us about how much we can share in a play. You know, normally a stage play is between kind of 50 minutes and, for new writing, probably about 2 hours long, which isn't very much time at all when we want to introduce people to our characters and their stories. So that's just kind of an encouragement that you can tell something kind of fun and interesting in a very short amount of time. Today we're mostly focusing in on character and character building, and you may wonder why character is where I want to start when we're kind of coming at playwriting for the first time. And that's because in Western culture, normally the stories we tell are character driven. So, you know, it's what we're used to. Anything from Little Red Riding Hood all the way to things like Peaky Blinders and even reality TV. We invest in the people on the screen, on the stage, in the book. We want them to win or we want them to lose, and we can live experiences in life that we wouldn't normally get by watching them do it and seeing how they deal with it. And I think in plays it's particularly important that our characters are good because, you know, all stories deal with some level of conflict. And I don't necessarily mean that that has to be, you know, people having an argument or shouting at each other. All that means is that somebody wants something and there are things that stand in their way to get there. And there are different levels of conflict that we see in different kinds of stories. So often within novels, we can explore conflicts that people have within themselves because we can see things from that character's perspective. In films, often is extra personal conflict. So, you know, they might be in conflict with society or the elements, something that is kind of bigger than just human beings. Whereas in plays, we have interpersonal conflict, which means conflict between people. So we need to make sure that our characters are really, really great so that our audience believes in and invests in their conflicts with each other. I would love you in the comments to kind of comment, tell me who are some of your favourite characters in film, TV, books, anything. And we'll try and look for some common things in the characters that we like. And again, there are no stupid answers to this. Who are the characters that you feel really drawn to, that you enjoy watching, and who you care about whether they do well or not? I think one of my all-time favourite characters is Don Draper from Mad Men. I think he's absolutely brilliant. He's very complex. So we're getting a couple of comments just saying that people are having issues connecting. Do let me know if that's the case. And like I said, the videos will be available afterwards for people to watch in case they've missed anything. So apologies if anyone is missing anything. But yeah, if you could comment below some of your favourite characters in film, TV, anything like that. Hello to anyone who's just joined us. We're just kind of thinking about who some of our favourite characters in film, TV and plays are. So some of the things that make interesting characters are things like complexity. So Leslie Knope from Parks and Rec, yes. I love her as well. I think that she is a brilliant character. We really invest in her and all her trials and tribulations. Great, yeah. So she's very passionate. If you wouldn't mind commenting, that's fine. If not, just make a list for yourself, because I think it's good for you to kind of get to know your own taste. Yeah, being a passionate character. So if a character believes in something and believes in fighting for something, then often we will believe in that fight as well. Ragnar Lothbrok and Tony Soprano. Yep, again, brilliant, brilliant characters. Marianne from Normal People. I haven't watched it yet, so I need to get on that one. But again, it feels like all of these characters are really complex and complicated characters. Oh, yeah. Andy Serkis, in anything that he ever does, he creates really believable and really fully fleshed out characters. I'm kind of seeing some themes here about characters who feel real in some way. So even if they're complete fantasy characters like Gollum, there is a sense that we can relate to them in some way. There's some part of their personality that feels like us as well. Also that they're not perfect. I think all of the characters mentioned have something that they wish was different about themselves. Sometimes they can be selfish, or sometimes they can be too passionate, in the example of Leslie Knope. Also, all good characters make choices. So throughout a piece of drama, the things that they do will kind of influence the story and how it develops. If you're thinking about things like that and the characters that you love, hopefully you'll be able to create really original characters that avoid stereotypes, or use stereotype in a way that kind of means that they feel original and new and like real people. So, what we're going to do, I want you to kind of just, in 2 minutes, make a list of all the people you know who intrigue you. So they can be people that you know very well, they can be members of your family, your friends, or they can be, you know, that really smiley woman on the till at Asda, or the grumpy traffic warden. Just anyone in your life who really, really intrigues you and that you would like to know more about. So, I'm going to set timer for 2 minutes. Off we go. Okay, you've got about 10 seconds left. So bring your list to an end. Okay, so hopefully you should have a list of people that you find intriguing. Again, if you want to share any of your examples in the comments, please do. A couple of mine include my next door neighbour who steals my bins, the man who sits on the curb, and the new family down the street. So they can be absolutely anyone that kind of intrigues you, and hopefully they might act as starting points for some characters that you want to develop. We're now going to Ninja. Yes, I think he's definitely a very intriguing character that kind of anyone in Cardiff is intrigued by. We're going to create now a character profile, and this can be using one of those people from your list as a starting point, or they can be a completely imaginary person. So I don't want you to think too much about this. I think that, you know, whatever comes to mind first is kind of what you should write down, and you can always go back and change it afterwards. So the first thing that I want you to write down for your imagined person is their gender. So that's their gender. Now I want you to write down their age, how old they are. What is their ethnicity? And if you haven't done so already, what is their name? What are they called? Next up, I would like you to write down 3 physical characteristics that they have. Try and be really specific. So instead of saying that they've got brown hair, if you were describing me, you could say they've got short brown hair with a fringe that they obviously cut themselves. Try and be really specific. Next up, where and how do they get their money? Where or how do they get their money? That will obviously be very different for somebody who is a child to an adult. What is their accommodation? So what kind of place do they live? In what kind of place do they live? Sorry, that was a bad sentence. What does your character need right now? What do they need right now? What is a secret that your character has? A secret that they are keeping. Next, I would like you to write down a memory that they have. A memory that your character has from any point in their life. Next, I would like you to write down something that your character believes in. Something that your character believes in. Where precisely is your character right now? Be really precise about where they are. What are they doing right now? So what is your character doing right now? And last but not least, what is your character thinking or saying right at this moment in time? What are they thinking or saying? Brilliant, thank you. So you should now have a pretty fleshed out character that you have hopefully just come up with right now. And obviously you can repeat that exercise as many times as you like to keep generating characters. Or alternatively, you can keep your same character, but think of them at different moments in time. So how do things change about them throughout their life? Does how they look change? Does the name that they use change? Are the things that they believe or the secrets that they have change over time? I find that a really, really good exercise to do whenever I'm stuck or wherever I'm kind of feeling like I don't know my characters well enough. Now what I want you to do is take that character, and this is a little bit old school, but I want you to imagine that they only have 1 minute of credit left on their phone, or you know, they only have enough money for 1 minute of a phone call in a payphone. I want you to think about who they're going to call and why they're going to call that person. What are they going to say to that person? So, what I think we've got somebody just ask a question. What do they need? The one before that was what is their accommodation like? So, what kind of place do they live in? Jumping back to the telephone call. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes to write down what they say on that phone call. And again, you don't have to share that with anyone, but it's just a really good way to really think about who your character cares about and what is important to them in the moment. So I'm going to set the timer for 3 minutes. Off we go. Okay, you're about halfway through your time. Got about 30 seconds left, so start bringing your thoughts to an end. That's 10 seconds left. There we go. So, in that phone call, you now have what could potentially be a scene or something that informs your play. Hopefully you learned a little bit maybe about how your character talks. And this is something that you could return back to when you know a little bit more about your character. Think about, you know, do they have an accent? Or do they use particular slang or jargon because of who they are and who they're calling? It's a lovely exercise just to kind of put a bit of time pressure on you and put your characters under some pressure as well. What I'm going to do is we're going to have just a little kind of 3-minute break. I'm going to stay on camera, but if you want to kind of go and grab a drink, use the bathroom, anything you need to do. But also, if anyone wants to ask anything, please put it into the comments and I'll just kind of do a really quick recap for anyone who is joining us. So we'll have a little 3-minute break starting now. So yes, hello to anyone who is joining us halfway through. Welcome. This is the playwriting workshop for Sherman 5. I'm Chelsea, I'm a theatre director and I've worked on lots of plays, bringing them from first draft all the way through to being stage ready. So far we have done some warm-up exercises, thought about the kind of characters that we like to see in plays and films and books, and kind of what makes them interesting, why we like them. And we've also created a character profile of an imagined person. So if you haven't been able to do any of those exercises, that's absolutely fine. What you can do for the rest of the workshop is kind of just make somebody up on the spot, or maybe use a character that you know, or you know, that can be a fictional character or somebody from your real life. That's absolutely fine. Like I said, if you've got any questions or comments, do pop them into the chat so we can see them. And if you want anything repeated as well, just say and we can repeat that for you. Okay, got about a minute left before we start back on our next exercise. Thank you for the thumbs up, whoever that's from. I do appreciate it. Lovely, we've got about 30 seconds before we start back. Okay, brilliant. So what we're going to do next is flesh out your character's world a little bit. Think about who are the other people in their world with them. So what I'd like you to do, hopefully you can see this on the camera, is draw a series of circles, kind of like a dartboard with one central circle here. And what you're going to do, you're going to put your character, the character that you've been working on, you're going to put their name in this circle in the middle. And then I'm going to just give you a couple of minutes to place in these other circles other people in your character's life. So in the circles that are closest to them, they're going to be the people that they know very well, the people that they kind of see regularly, or that they are in some way related to or connected to in a way that they can't deny or get rid of. And the further out we go in the circle will be the looser connections, so the casual acquaintances, the friends who are a little bit more distant. So we're just going to map out the people that our character knows and how close or far away from that person they are. Just going to give you a quick 3 minutes to start populating that map with some people. There we go. That's your 3 minutes to start popping some names into your map of relationships. Okay, you've got about 10 seconds left, so start bringing that to a close. Lovely, so hopefully you've got something that looks a little bit like this with some names filled in. And I don't know about you, but I was trying not to think too much about it. I was just kind of writing down whatever felt instinctive, because of course we can always change our minds at a later date and go back. And what I made a couple of discoveries about my character that I wasn't expecting. So I popped their mum on my list and kind of, I didn't know where to put her. So I actually decided that maybe sometimes she is much, much closer and other times she's much, much further away. And that might be the beginnings of a dramatic conflict between the two of them. We just don't know. Okay, what I want you to do now is to pick one person from your map of relationships, someone that your character wants something from. Now, this could be something physical, so it could be that they want money, or they want a guitar. It could be anything that they want from them, or it could be a piece of information. It could be an apology. It could be that they want to tell them a secret. But the thing is, the other person doesn't want to do this for your character. They're saying no. They're not going to give them the thing that they need. And I'm just going to give you, again, kind of another 3 minutes or so to write a scene. But I'm going to put a little rule on it to stop the scene becoming overcomplicated. Your character, so the main character that you've developed today, they can say anything they want throughout this whole conversation. But the person that they want something from can only ever say up to 3 words at a time. So that might be no, or I won't, or not now, go away. So they can only ever speak in up to 3 words at a time. And let's see what that brings and how that changes the conflict between them. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes to write a short scene where your character wants something from someone else. Off we go. You have 1 minute left to continue writing your scene where your character wants something from someone else. And you've got about 10 seconds left, so start bringing your sentences, your scenes to an end. It doesn't have to be finished, but just finish the thought that you're on. Lovely. So now you should have the beginnings of a scene that could, again, be part of a wider piece. The heart of all drama is about someone wanting something and all the things that they have to overcome in order to get it. And usually in a comedy, they get the thing they want, and in a tragedy, usually they don't get the thing they want. And that's kind of, how theatre works on the most simple level. As a little kind of extension to that exercise, what you can do is start thinking about locations, so places where that conversation would never happen. So I wrote a scene that was between a school teacher and her pupil, and the pupil really, really wanted the teacher to give her a pass mark for the year. And, the kind of obvious setting for that would be in a school, in the teacher's classroom. But can we imagine that scene happening in the middle of a forest or at the local supermarket? How might that change how these characters interact with each other and the way that they speak to each other? If they're in the middle of a library, all of a sudden they might be whispering to keep it quiet. Or, you know, if they're on the top of a mountain on a school trip, is there the danger that one of them is going to push the other off the mountain? If you think of kind of really far out and wild scenarios, it might hopefully help you find a bit more tension or danger or different options for your scene. I feel like the time has absolutely flown by, so we are going to kind of draw it to a close there for today. If you have any questions about kind of playwriting, about theatre, anything like that, do comment now and I will answer as many of those questions as I possibly can. I also just want to say a big, huge thank you to everyone who's joined. This kind of live chat is kind of a newish format to be doing these things in, so hopefully you found it useful. I think I have. I think I've got a couple of ideas that I can go away with and work on more. There is going to be a follow-up session to this, which is going to be at the same time next Monday. So that's Monday the 18th from 2 o'clock in the afternoon till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And that session is going to kind of put our characters into action and really test them out. You don't have to have done this workshop to do the second workshop, but if you have done this one, then obviously it will help you kind of keep building your ideas and develop something a little bit more fully formed. We're going to think a little bit about more dramatic situations that we can put our characters into, about dialogue, and also a little bit, just a tiny bit, about dramatic structure, which will hopefully give you a framework to write your play within. I think structure can be very useful sometimes, but other times it can get in the way, and we sometimes just need to let our instincts take over. So by the end of next week, hopefully you will have everything that you need to go away and write a play on a page, and maybe even enough material to kind of expand that out to a full-length play as well. So next week, do keep your pens handy. If you could give me an emoji to let me know if you've enjoyed today. If you've hated today, that's absolutely fine. If you've got any comments, please do either put them in the chat here or pop them onto the Sherman 5 page, either to let people know that you've had fun and you want them to get involved, or even to let us know things that could be improved before next week, because we want these workshops to be as useful and as helpful to you as they possibly can be. Also, just a little shout out for the Sherman interval programme. So on Wednesday and Friday this week, they're going to be releasing 2 brand new short plays, monologues that have been recorded, and they're absolutely brilliant, and they're a really, really good kind of example of short plays and what works in theatre. Thank you everybody so much for joining. Oh, you're so welcome everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm very aware that we've gone very fast today, so please do go back. If there's anything else that you want to know about, please do comment. I'm going to be checking the comments kind of throughout this week, and I'm very happy to answer any questions that people have. We've got a couple more minutes if anyone did want to... or email claire.bottomley@shermantheatre.co.uk with any comments or feedback, because, like I said, we want these to be as helpful and as useful to you as they possibly can be, so that, you know, by the end of it, you've kind of come away with more confidence about being a writer, because I really believe that anyone can be a writer if they're willing to put the hard work in and spend a bit of time, you know, on it. It's a fun thing to do if it's something that you want to do. Oh, you're very, very welcome. Thank you, Abigail. It's been an absolute pleasure. Keep your notes safe, and hopefully you can come and join us next week. And you know, we'll keep working and keep building. Lovely. And yeah, if anyone kind of wants any of these exercises in printed form as well, we can send those out as well. I'm glad you enjoyed the techniques. I can also, what I'll do is pop up some really great resources in the comments of this video when it goes live. so that there are some other places that you can kind of look for more exercises to keep developing your craft as well. Because sometimes, you know, you have the best intention, you sit down to write, but sometimes it's good just to have a little bit of guidance and a framework to help you get started. Absolutely lovely stuff. Thank you very much, everybody. I'll leave it there, but like I said, come back next week on Monday from 2 till 3 to keep kind of pushing ourselves and pushing our characters as well. Thank you very much. I've had loads of fun, and hope you all have a really lovely day. Take care.